is where February feels like June. Welcome to Cathedral City and the 2026 Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic, the mecca of early season softball. Heavyweights from across the country collide in the desert, and we start with Auburn and Oregon. Rankings, resumes, and potential postseason previews, they get shaped right here. Buckle up. We're underway at Mary Nutter. The Auburn lineup starts here with Kylie Shaw at the top, and you can't forget about the third base powerhouse, Haven Roebuck. Welcome in along with Cindy Supple. I'm Max Kelton. Cindy, go ahead here.
So many home run power top to bottom in this lineup. You have some of the best offensive minds within Chris and Kate Malvo at the helm of it. They're going to be looking to put pressure on what is a really talented Oregon pitching staff early.
Wasting no time in the circle. Oregon starting off with Taylor Spencer. Kylie Shaw, the right-hander.
Spencer, the junior ace, she's a righty with a really good curveball. She's got a strong change of speeds, and it's something that Coach Lombardi was really excited about. She went to work in the offseason and can pull that string at any point to keep the hitters very honest.
Spencer the pitch. Well, Taylor
Spencer has earned this start after throwing a 1.75 ERA at the NFCA Leadoff Classic, where she had 9 strikeouts in a game that went 8 innings long.
0-2.
For Auburn, that starts with these lefties. The big reason why they love them at leadoff is just an opportunity to see a lot of pitches, even those good wasting foul balls. It lets the whole dugout learn.
And the pitch. Missed just low. And you see this Auburn team in the midst of a rebuild. That off-season roster featured some kind of shakeup, but Shaw has been a staple in this lineup at the top. Now looking to get things going early. Here comes Spencer. Cracked foul on the left-hand side.
Yeah, Auburn graduated a really large senior class, and they brought in very talented freshmen. It's a class of 7 that the Malvos have been really excited about because they feel like now in year 2, this is finally their year. They've been able to take over the culture, the program, to really start to build on what they want this foundation to be.
And that recruiting class was tabbed the 10th best in the nation by rivals. Spencer.
They're just so deep, getting experience early.
So we have a full count here for Shaw at the plate.
Shaw's done a really nice job working herself back from an 0-2 count. Spencer needs to stop from nibbling, just attack the zone a little bit more.
Ripped foul again.
I tell you, it's so impressive when you see a lefty slapper to be able to foul the ball so many times to the left side. That's where Shaw is so good, being only a sophomore, keeping her hands inside the ball and staying really nice and tight as she runs through the box.
Full count to the leadoff hitter. Taylor Spencer to the plate. Missed it low, and the leadoff walk for Kylie Shaw.
And you have to tip your cap to Kylie Shaw. She came all the way back from a 0-2 count to be able to find her way on. That's what makes her a good leadoff, her attention to detail and being able to take the walk whenever she can.
Now Manaya Womack steps in. Womack cracks it foul against the fence. So a runner on first inning of action. And this Oregon team, without as hot of a start as last year, trying to ride the coattails of Taylor Spencer in this circle to kick things off at Mary Nutter. Womack the junior. 0-1.
And that's a great pitch right there. Curveball that just covers enough of the plate. Womack is somebody that the Melvos were super excited about her opportunities last season, and to continue them this year. Brings a ton of power to the plate early on in the lineup.
2-strike pitch. Missed outside.
And I think back to what you were saying about Oregon earlier, Max, is that one of Lombardi's rules for this team, she says, I want you to start fast, stay fast, and finish fast. And she really wants to come into this tournament with an aggressive mindset.
And try and command the zone. That's the key. 1-2, fouled off.
Right there, we see the first off-speed by Spencer, and that's what makes her so good. She's able to throw the off-speed that's tunneled on the same level as her curveball. So as a hitter, what does that mean? It means the ball is looking the same 2/3 of the way there, and then it's the last second. It's a knee-buckling off-speed that you can't recognize till the very last seconds.
Boy, it makes things difficult for the hitters against Spencer. Still in search of that first out of the first frame. With Kylie Shaw on first base. Here's the 1-2 offer. Fouled off again.
Yeah, we're seeing a similar routine here by Spencer. She gets ahead early, and then she starts to work her corners. She's working a lot away against Womack. So if I'm in that 2-strike aggressive mindset, I'm towing the chalk.
Chance to be patient here. The junior right-hander Spencer out of Marietta. 1-2. Had one to waste.
And that's a good take. Knowing Lombardi just, again, wanting to start fast, I guarantee you after this inning, she's going to continue to tell Spencer, spin your pitches through the zone. Let the defense work behind you.
Fourth start of the year for Spencer. 2-2, swung through and missed. There's one away in the first.
Boy, was that a pretty rise ball. Spencer doing such a great job climbing the ladder from curveball. She's going to give you a rise ball that breaks at the last second. Womack, how could you lay off of that? You can't.
Brings up a power hitter in Destiny Rodriguez. First pitch. Rodriguez took strike one.
It's kind of a shocking take when you understand how aggressive Spencer is being early on in the count. She's trying to get ahead of these Auburn hitters, so then that's when she could start to work her spin.
It's a great point through the first two batters. She toyed an 0-2 count. Make it 3 in a row now.
And now you're starting to see Spencer find her groove, her second off speed, building up that confidence. And you know what? Throwing an off speed early on in the game, it makes every single batter in the dugout aware that she can pull it on you at any moment. And then you step up to the plate with a little more nerves.
2-strike pitch. Just away.
And Rodriguez is one of multiple impact transfers this Auburn lineup has. And she's somebody who is really familiar with the Melvos from her time at Tennessee.
One cent foul.
That's a good job with that off speed again, just trying to work at opposite field eventually. If they can get that timing down, that's exactly where you want to build it off of. Not allowing yourself to roll over or to leak your power onto your front leg, but she's doing a really nice job staying deep within her legs.
And you mentioned that connection that Destiny Rodriguez has to the coaching staff during their time at Tennessee. It seemed like a perfect fit, and she's just slotted in so well to this Auburn uniform.
It's also an opportunity, the Melvos said, for her to lead. She's somebody who at Tennessee had opportunities, wasn't an everyday starter, and she was really intrigued, but I could start every single game and I could really put my name within this program and be a leader and show my experience. And coming from Tennessee, there's no better experience than playing on the Women's College World Series stage consistently.
Missed it low, and our count runs full. You know, also a good time, Sydney, to talk about Chris and Kate Malvo moving over from Tennessee and the success they had in their first season last year on the Plains.
Yeah, they will just credit Karen Weekly, and you know, the Weekly duo between husband and wife passed on to the Melvos. Now their opportunity to take what they learned from the Weeklies.
Cracked into left field for a base hit. A nice at-bat from Destiny Rodriguez to work it full after she initially fell behind 0-2. Now runners on first and second with just one away.
It does a great job getting her hands on top of a rise ball. She's jammed on the inner part of her barrel, but so strong to be able to punch it through. Spencer's doing a great job early on in these counts, but she's got to find a way to be able to finish them a bit stronger.
And getting ahead is half the job. We've seen that through the first 3 at-bats for Taylor Spencer in the circle. First pitch into Annalie Adams, misses low.
Adams, another sophomore in this lineup. She's made an impact from the day she stepped on campus. Led the team last year as a freshman in batting average, hitting .390, 9 doubles, and 10 home runs.
Swung through and missed. It's 1-1.
And that was the first hitter for Auburn that I saw really try to get around the curveball of Spencer. They're going to have success when they continue to just try to drive it opposite field with how much she's going to live on the outer half of the plate against these righties with her curveball.
Swing and a miss, throw down to second, but not in time as Kylie Shaw dives back safely.
You know, I really like that message from Cox just behind the plate, reminding the runners that she is there. She's putting on one of the best catching seasons so far this year, has thrown multiple people out from back picks and straight steals.
Cox, the softball freshman All-American, showing off the arm a moment ago as this one misses low for a 2-2.
And that's a pitcher's best friend. When you see somebody behind the dish who's constantly working for you, it allows you as a pitcher to just focus on the batter. She's your eyes.
Right now, Taylor Spencer focusing on Annalie Adams. And boy, she has been on a tear to kick off this year. It's belted deep right field. Goodbye! 3-run blast for Annalie Adams. Auburn blasts open the lead.
This is why you love the game, for these type of at-bats. We saw Annalie Adams whiff at 2 curveballs before she comes back, makes the adjustment, sends it deep, deep into opposite field.
Annalie Adams, the preseason All-SEC honor. She shows off that SEC power here at Mary Nutter. It's 3-0 Auburn.
And what's amazing about that is you felt like Spencer was in control. She was in the driver's seat, getting ahead early in the counts, creating swings and misses, but the walk comes back to haunt you. The little bit flat rise ball and 2 strikes comes back to haunt you.
That brings up Haven Roebuck.
Auburn.
Yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
I was just saying, what a punch for Auburn right away. This is a young, scrappy team who wants to put the nation on watch. They received a few votes here for the top 25, haven't found a way to snuck their way in. And the Malvos said, with a really young team, when we're facing these top caliber teams who could go to the Women's College World Series, he goes, I'm trying for them to not be emotionally connected to who they're playing in the other uniform, but instead just worry about ourselves. What could we do? The game doesn't change when we play our Auburn softball way.
And it's tough, especially with how Oregon wanted to start out. You talk about Melissa Lambert, her 8th season. She said, we want to hit them hard and hit them fast, but right now Auburn jumps on top in that first frame.
Melissa Lombardi, the 2025 Big Ten Coach of the Year. So good with understanding what her team needs. Also one of the best pitching minds in her game. I think that was a really appropriately timed out for her to have a word with her pitcher as well.
It's a great point on Coach Lombardi and the staff that they bring to the table as well, with the strike that rolls in. But we talk about both years over the last 2, an NFCA Regional Staff of the Year in Eugene for Coach Lombardi and company.
Yeah, she's so good at developing multiple aces on every team. What I love is the way that her pitching staff just embraces each other. She's the first to give credit back to her pitchers. Her pitchers are all selfless. You see them giving hugs to each other in the bullpen, or if they ever have to change between one another out. when you can be each other's biggest champion on the team within a team, being the pitching staff, that's when a team thrives.
3-0 Auburn. Top of the first, one away. 2-1 count. Missed away for ball 3.
When I called Auburn and give up even with 2 outs.
Full count. You know, you talk about that first inning, getting on top early, and that's something that the cleanup hitter, Annalie Adams, has seen all year for this Auburn team. A full-on rebuild, but they've had so much success with Adams and company in finding that power stroke through the first stretch of the year. Missed away for ball 4.
And if you talk with the Malvos, they're going to say it starts with culture. And one of the biggest things they did this offseason is making sure they had a lot of time for the players to connect off the fields. They hosted a lot of recruiting trips. And they said every time we invited them over for a home-cooked meal, we were surprised that it wasn't just 8 players who would come, but it would be all 24 players. And she goes, they would stay till 10, 11 p.m. We would have to kick them out because they were just enjoying each other so much and they were enjoying being in our home. And that's something they've really cultivated, is a strong culture that's a family. And starting to see it then shine through in the way that they play softball in a really free way.
Free is right, and so far a couple of free passes for Taylor Spencer, who had been so good at commanding the zone to this point, but this is just her 8th and 9th walks of the season through the first inning that we've seen so far.
And just kind of guessing from Spencer's attitude here that they are going to go to the bullpen. We've mentioned it. It's one of the deepest bullpens in all of college softball. We haven't even talked about the 2 All-Americans that they have. One coming in right now with an Elise Sokolsky, who last year had the 2nd most innings on her team, but she was just incredibly dominant. And she's somebody who is going to look to pound the zone and get her team back into this game.
Redshirt sophomore Sokolsky. You remember all the way back when she started her career in UConn? It feels like forever ago. Last year earned all Big Ten second team honors with 17 wins.
She's somebody who I love to watch throw. She's got a drop ball that she throws really hard, has good natural break. And then she has a rise ball that's slower than her drop ball, so it can be really hard to time up as a hitter. It's a little bit spinny. And then she has a changeup that they've worked really hard on making super deceptive off that drop ball. So again, another pitcher who has good vertical movement. This is a good compliment coming off of Spencer, who tend to work a little more east to west. You're going to see north to south movements.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit more vertical stuff for Sokolsky, excuse me. 2.05 ERA over 13 2/3 this season for the redshirt senior. Righty out of Rogers, Arkansas. And the last out recorded. Yeah, go ahead, Sydney.
She's one of these few players who has been with Lombardi since the beginning. You know, when you look at Lindsey Grine, who led the way last year as a transfer coming in, this is now in Lombardi's 8th year, one of her pitchers that she's been able to develop her entire time. And she can't speak enough about the redshirt senior and not only what she brings on the mound, but the leadership. So it's no surprise to bring in somebody with the maturity and experience Sokolsky has to try to settle down this defense and to get him back in the dugout.
Well, we'll see if the 5th year can hold this hot lineup in check. 3 straight batters have reached, and Auburn leads by 3, top of the first with just 1 away. Here's Michaela Walker, the right fielder, stepping in. Missed just high.
And for Auburn, who did a really nice job making Spencer come to them in the zone, it's going to be really important to try to hold that same discipline against Sokolsky, who's going to want you to expand it up in the zone.
That's belted a mile in the air to left field. Center fielder in Shaw calls it off. There's 2 down.
It's a great job by Sokolsky, pounding the zone early, just delivering an out. especially with the runner on first base. That's why you love a rise ball pitcher coming in this situation. You're not going to see a lot of ground balls.
Haven Roebuck at first base. 2 down. Here comes the 7-hole hitter, Kyla Stroud, who watches strike 1 go by.
Stroud was injured last March, was sidelined for the remainder of the season, but just mentally what she learned, she has taken it in tenfold this year.
0-2.
Esikolsky just working her rise ball on 3 different levels right now. A Lombardi special, and she has a pitcher strong enough to be able to execute it.
That's money as Sikolski closes out the first. Not before a 3-run shot from Annalie Adams. Auburn by 3. We're headed to the bottom of the opening frame. Now this Oregon lineup looks to get hot in a hurry. They showcased speed and power last season and now chasing 3 after that first frame. Keep an eye on the 9-hole and Taryn Ho, who earns her first career start with Addison Amaral out of the lineup today. It's the first time she hasn't been in the starting lineup this season. They will face S.J. Guerin in the circle for Auburn. And Cindy, she has a fierce tenacity about her when she gets out there.
Yeah, Guerin is somebody who came on the national scene last year in such a huge way. She had 10 innings pitched in her first 2 seasons that were played at Oklahoma. She transferred over to Auburn where she threw 190 innings. And talk about that difference. And that's where she's just really grown now here in year 4 when you talk to the Malvos and just understanding what it's like to have that type of workload and even just finally getting all the experience of the highs and lows within a season. And she's come back in a really strong way. Her pitches are sharper than ever, and mentally she's prepared.
It's her 4th start of the season. 2 wins and a loss to her record at this point, and coming off of 2 performances last week out of the pen. 1-1. Too high.
What you'll notice about Guerin's game is she's not a pitcher who's going to try to gas it by you. She has shown that she can be successful in her nasty spin, and she's very self-aware and can pinpoint exactly where she wants to throw the ball and where she wants it to break.
2 balls and a strike. Went around for strike 2.
And Kaylin Jones is somebody who's coming off of a tremendous start to the season. She's a sophomore who really took off at the end of 2025 as a freshman, building up her confidence, and has been the perfect replacement leadoff hitter and getting on so many times.
Jones slaps it foul.
And Jones hit 400 at the NFCA Leadoff Classic, and Coach Lombardi couldn't say enough. She said, Jones keeps finding a way to get on, and now it's just our job to figure out how can we get her to score.
Had 6 hits last weekend. She's gotten hot. The pitch. taken low. Ball 3. Count runs full. You know, Cindy, you had talked to me before the show how this team, their MO was speed and power. They just haven't hit their stride this season, but it could be Kaylin Jones who gets them going. Bounced, foul behind the plate, will remain at 3-2.
This is a team who last year had 86 home runs, and half of those were by their freshman phenoms that they called them. And now those freshmen are another year older. They won in the portal. They brought 3 power hitters while double-digit home runs each season. I look at this as a squad who could hit over 100 home runs, and they've only hit 6 this year, and I expect to see a lot more this weekend.
Slapped into left field for a base hit. Kaylin Jones is aboard with a leadoff single.
And Jones just has such great bat awareness and understanding this one's going to be outside. Let's just poke it through the 5-6 hole.
That's a gritty at bat. Fell behind, forced it full, and then rips a base knock to lead things off for the Ducks as Amari Harper steps in.
Harper is one of those powerhouse transfers that Oregon was able to get. She played 154 career games at Texas A&M. And on top of that, hit 364 with, gosh, so many home runs, 85 RBIs.
Here's the pitch. Ripped into center. This is deep. This is gone. Oregon bounces back and responds with authority. Amari Harper, a 2-run shot.
It says so much about a team by they're willing to throw a punch back, and Harper does exactly that, getting on top of a rise ball. And look at that extension through. That is a pretty swing.
What a way to start out hot. Still nobody away. And Harper blasts a bomb to give Oregon a little momentum in the bottom of the first.
And coming into this weekend, Harper was tied with Emma Cox for leading the team in home runs with 2. Put that on for 3. See if Erin Cox can get a little competitive spirit going there.
5th straight game that Harper has crossed the plate with a run as well. That missed low. Elon Butler at the plate.
About a team who might not have felt like they started off on the right foot. Here's an opportunity to look at your pitcher and say, we have your back. Let's restart.
I think it also speaks to what Melissa Lombardi preaches now in her 8th season. That bounce just foul. You know, she talks about how each year is a new version of her team, and it evolves year by year. The 7th version last year was maybe the best that we've seen so far, and hoping that this 8th year can blossom into something beautiful as well.
Yeah, they call this version 8. It's the infinity team if you take the number 8 and you turn it sideways. And what that means to them is that there is no finish line for this team. She said last year it felt like our finish line was Oklahoma City and we got there, but we don't want to just get there this year. We want to do more than that.
Returned 93% of its starting pitching, and the bats have then stepped up as well, as we've seen with a couple of hot shots in this first inning already. Still nobody away with the 3-hole hitting Elon Butler at the plate.
Butler, one of those transfers. She came from 3 seasons at Cal, where she had 37 home runs. She was an All-American in 2024.
Just caught the inside corner, painted in for strike 3 called.
And that's a tough pitch. Credit to Guerin to be able to have the confidence with 2 strikes, go to that off speed. This is how you want to respond if you're a pitcher. Trust your best stuff, and a drop ball that just is able to be brought up enough to get the strike zone. Good job by Ratcliffe behind the dish.
With one away, the cleanup hitting Emma Cox fouls off the first pitch she sees. Cox, the sophomore, we mentioned her arm in the last inning, what she could do defensively, but make no mistake, she's a threat at the plate as well. Missed it low for ball one.
She battled injuries last season, but when she was able to be healthy, she still put together a huge campaign at the plate. 8 home runs as a freshman. As I mentioned, coming into this weekend was tied for the most home runs on the team, has had 2 in the first 2 weekends.
Fouled it away again for strike 2. And you know, Sydney, we talk about those 8 home runs. One of them came in one of the most crucial games of the year. You look back to that super regional against Liberty and a 3-run blast in that clinching win to send the Ducks to the Women's College World Series. You know, when you come up clutch in those moments, it earns you trust in a system like this. Ripped it short. On to first from Hastings. There's 2 down.
We're starting to see S.J. Guerin settle into this game after giving up the home run. He's done a nice job at working different levels and really changing up these eye levels against this Oregon team who, if they're going to hit Guerin, they have to do one of 2 things. They have to attack either the top part of the zone or the low part of the zone and be able to be really disciplined until they have 2 strikes and only committing to one of those halves.
Discipline is everything against Guerin in the circle. Guerin, who spent 2 seasons at Oklahoma, pitched in 9 games for Panigaso Sooners, allowed just 1 run in 10 innings over those 2 seasons, and then last year was one of the more potent pitchers for this Auburn rotation, as this is sent foul and out.
One of the big reasons why they feel Guerin did so well is they give credit to their pitching coach within Riker Chasen. It was also his first year at Auburn alongside Guerin and just really committing to building her confidence, allowing her to trust her pitches and her spin. And she's at an all-time high right now in her belief in herself.
Pitch. Fouled off. You talk about that belief in herself, and I think it starts with experience, and few are more experienced than S.J. Guerin, especially in terms of what she did last year. She appeared in 50 of 59 of Auburn's games. 2-strike pitch. And that's the 3rd out of the frame as Rodriguez tosses to Adams. Oregon bounces right on back. Shows off a little power on the swing from Amari Harper. 3-2 after the first inning. Auburn leads to the plate when we come back. Snowy peaks here in Palm Desert. Make no mistake, we talked about how this February, it feels like June. That's a ways away because it is bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and beautiful here at the Mary Nutter Classic. Top of the second inning, and the Ducks back with Elise Sokolski in the circle to face Auburn's 8-9-1. Ava Ratliff steps in. Ripped on the first pitch she saw, but just to the left of the chalk and fell.
I like this aggressiveness by Auburn. We saw them be on their heels a little bit. Oregon was able to take advantage of them early on in the count, pounding the zone. And they know that Sokolski really wants to settle into this game, get her defense back on track.
Just the 5th start of the season for Ratliff. The pitch. Caught the zone, strike 2.
And we talked to Coach Lombardi. She said it takes a special type of pitcher, Sokolski and Grind, who both throw a rise ball on 3 different levels. You're going to see her work her low rise, her mid rise. Looks like a little bit of just miscommunication there.
Yeah, the pop
You
up
always
just
hate to leave any outs on the board. You could see Cox trying to turn around, and it looks like both Sokolski and Cox thought the other might be going for it. Easier said than done, but that's just one where you want someone to take charge and just over-communicate.
and it leads to a base hit into left field. Ava Ratliff leads things off with the single in the second.
I mean, take advantage of an out handed to you, allowed you a second life. Knows she's going to go back to that rise ball. This time keeps her hands nice and tight. It's a quick turn. The grittiness by Ratliff, that entire at bat. I love it.
Bottom of the order in the 9th spot, it's Alyssa Hastings. Second straight inning, Auburn able to get the leadoff batter aboard.
Hastings is a transfer from Lipscomb, and this is somebody that the Melvos were fired up to get. They call her a pure hitter, where she hit .412 last season. She was tied for the most doubles in the country at 23.
Swung through strike one here.
I think the biggest thing right now, they're just trying to get Hastings up to the pace of the game at this level. They know she has the swing and the talent to do so, but just allowing her to not speed herself up in certain at-bats.
Just away, 1-1. And Hastings has started every game so far for the Tigers. Batting .444 to kick off the year.
She's somebody who just brings the spark to the bottom half of this lineup.
That's flared into shallow left field, and it gets down for a second single in the inning.
And there just feels like a lot of open space in that short left field area on the field right now for Auburn. Doing a great job at just continuing to pound the ball opposite field. And if you're Sokolski, that wasn't a bad pitch. You hit it off the end of your bat, but how can you say, let me spin my ball even sharper this next time?
Well, she'll have to against Kylie Shaw, who walked and scored her first time up.
And that's a great job when you're able to get your 8 and 9 hitters on. Are you kidding me? That's a team's dream, and that's why they love having Hastings and Lessman at the 8-9 spot, because they take a lot of pride in being able to turn over this lineup. Where Shaw's so good is she has to keep, a defense has to stay really honest against her. Somebody who is a triple threat hitter, you're going to see her run through the box on almost every single time, but she has a power slap in her as well, that she can send it to the fence when needed.
Well, you mentioned...
Good job by Emma Cox.
Yeah, well, Cox is keeping these runners in check, and you mentioned Lessman, who's now on second base as a pinch runner. Hastings over at first. Top of the order, Shaw has worked a 3-1. Full count here.
I love Auburn putting a pinch runner at second base with no outs. You want to make sure your team's able to continue to extend this lead as much as they can, knowing how good the bats are of Oregon.
Flared foul. Count stays alive.
What I like about this Auburn team is they're being aggressive against Sikorski's rise ball. And the thing about when you're facing a rise ball pitcher, if you're able to get on top of it and hit it well, you already have the power generated for you. It's going to go so far.
Slapped into left, and the catch is made up there by Amari Harper. One away.
Good job by Sikorski making that rise ball even sharper, getting it more out of the zone, so that way when Shaw hit it, there wasn't a lot to do with it going to left field.
Yeah, had some spin on it, so it died out there. That brings up Mania Womack, who struck out in her first at-bat today. Womack puts a charge into this one. It is gone. It's the second 3-run home run of the afternoon for Auburn. The bats are alive and well in Cathedral City. 6-2 War Eagles.
Womack read this off-speed beautifully, staying in her legs. That was one where you knew off the sound of the bat. Coach Malvo said to me, if Womack is not an All-American conversation after this season, I have not done my job right. Right there, putting on display exactly what he was talking about and the type of player he sees in her and that she's delivering at the field.
Heck of a way to start things out.
I mean, Max, and watching that back, I was like, that was a ball on the outside corner that she pulled a mile over the fence. I mean, that is just unbelievable power.
Yeah, the crack off the bat, it looked like it was gone nearly immediately. And it's a tough way to bounce back here if you're Oregon. You know, you allow the 3-run shot in the first. Try and make things interesting, a 2-run home run of your own in the bottom of the frame, and then Auburn jumps on yet another one. Showcasing that SEC power that we talked about a little bit. And quite the start for Auburn, receiving votes in this week's top 25 poll, and they continue to roll in the midst of this 6-game win streak.
I think the stats that says it all is last year Auburn as a team had 68 home runs. This year, coming into today's game, they had 17. So make that 19 now. This is a team that's going to be a lot more explosive offensively in non-conference and come SEC conference play.
Pitch missed low, count runs full here. And, you know, another point to it, Sid, is that this Auburn team won 5 straight games with run rule victories for the first time since 2017. We're seeing something really develop into a special showing for this Auburn group and what their power is capable of.
It's a young group that's learning quickly about themselves and understanding how to manage the moment.
That is charged deep, and it falls into the gap in left center. Into second base, Destiny Rodriguez dives headfirst safely.
The hustle. First, the swing. Rodriguez goes after a rise ball, is able to connect with it well, and then out of the box, she is running at full speed, hunting that second base. This is a bang-bang play, goes in head first. I love a player who's not afraid to get their jersey dirty.
Boy, quite the showing to this point. Rodriguez with the 4th hit of the inning for Auburn. First pitch into Annalie Adams. Well, Sid, things don't get any easier, right?
This is a team that I think rides momentum so well. And just even thinking about you talking about the 5-run rules last weekend, they started off this season losing badly. And when you talk to Malvo, he said, I have a young team who was showing all of the emotion on the face. And he said, I had to remind them, put on your poker face, understand who you are, and to not allow every at-bat to mean so much to you. And this is just a team who I think is maturing before our eyes. And then we're seeing it in the biggest way, the show that they can put on.
That slapped foul. You know, they have shown all season that they could put on, and that was the key also last year when they started out so hot. You remember when this team kicked off its season with a 20-1 record, the best start since 2022?
I mean, it was an unbelievable run, and then they hit some rough patches. They learned a few hard lessons that have stuck with them this year. And that's where they don't want to hang out in the highs and lows too much, but just ride steady in the middle. When they're able to do so, they're competing, and they're showing they can hit the best pitchers in the game, what we're seeing right now.
Insane to think about that they also have 13 newcomers. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. That's ripped foul up the third baseline.
The best coaches, they don't believe in rebuilding years. Anytime you have an opportunity to have a season with a starting lineup, you go and compete, because that might just be your year. And that's how this Auburn teams really look at it. They said, yes, we're building the foundation, but we want to win today.
They sure do. That's handled by Taryn Ho. Her first play over there at short. 2 down.
It's a good opportunity for Ho, as you mentioned, starting for the first time here in this game, and at shortstop, handles it really smoothly and looks the runner back. Perfectly executed.
So with 2 outs, Haven Roebuck to the plate. Rise ball missed upstairs.
It's cool to see somebody who is very vocal on this team and how she leads. You can see her saying a few words to her middle infield and her catcher before every pitch. Communicating, I got you, let's do this.
That's McCoy who takes care of business. Well, 4 hits in the inning and 3 runs score. Auburn cruising on offense. Oregon looks to bring out the bats. That is an unreal shot from our crew here in Cathedral City at the Mary Nutter Classic. Big League Dreams. Come out and see it for yourself. Auburn has ripped this thing open. Headed to the bottom of the second inning here. It's 6-2. Oregon trying to bounce back. They'll go 6, 7, 8 in the frame. Riley McCoy slaps the first pitch she sees from S.J. Garrett foul. Little bit
McCoy,
of breathing room.
best.
Yeah, go ahead, Sid.
One of the top bats in this lineup. She tied the OU single season record with 19 home runs in 2025. And this is one of the players that Coach Lombardi and staff is looking to get going again. She was a top 3 finalist as freshman players of the year in the country, and well deserved in that regard. and still searching for not only her first long ball, but just a little bit of consistency at the plate.
Bounced right back to Guerin. One away.
And this is where Guerin is so good. You could see how spinny her pitches are. That one just fools McCoy a little bit. She's very off time. It looks like it comes off the knob, so actually the umpire just came out to check the ball, make sure that it wasn't hit in any weird way that might have caused a little bit of a scuffing to the softball. And Stephanie Maake, you talk about power to power. She was also one of the leading home run hitters for this squad last year as a freshman. Double-digit home runs. She actually put a ball 300 feet deep at this tournament last season.
No, Walker.
However you can get on. This is one of those from the dugout you're saying, we got ice. Just stand in there and take it. Maake does a good job of doing that.
So as a hit batsman, Maake is aboard. Katie Flannery. Strike one into there to the third baseman, Flannery.
Flannery, somebody who does such a nice job of just seeming like she always finds open spot in the infield. She's going to look to drive the ball, line drives consistently. But I think the biggest thing right now for this Oregon team is you're going to have to look to hit one speed against Guerin, who's starting to mix in her off speed a bit more.
We've seen some success from Flannery with a hit in 6 of her last 7 games. Lays off, ball 1.
And what I love is you hear the dugout from Oregon. I know this hasn't been the start of the game that they want, but with each pitch, you hear them start to get louder and louder again. That's a team that knows they can get right back in this game. They never stop believing.
Easy to build a rhythm when you got your team behind your back. Tough to build a rhythm when S.J. Guerin is dealing like that. Strike 3, swung on and missed.
The speed that Guerin has, I mean, that is just a curveball that breaks back middle, but just has so much spin on it that it fools even the best of hitters.
2 away. What a picture-perfect bunt up the third baseline. Taryn Ho beats it out. Ball kicks away. Maake scores. Taryn Ho coming home. She's in to score as well. That is bananas.
What did we just witness? That something you looked like was going to be a bang-bang play, but you felt like Ho was going to be able to beat it out as the 9-hitter. A ton of speed, lays down a bunt. This is a ball that gets caught by the first baseman, but then there's a little bit of confusion on the bases with Maake. She looks to throw it across the diamond. It's kicked away, and Ho never stops running. Look at this, continuing to keep her feet moving forward, and Lombardi sends her all the way from a bunt to a 2-run home run. Who cares? Score them all whatever way you can.
Not only was this the first start for Taryn Ho, that's her first hit. And what a wacky occurrence it was. Auburn had a 4-run lead. Now that 4-run lead cut in half. Maybe the wackiest play that we'll see all weekend, certainly an early candidate.
Oh, and then you just have to go back to the leadoff within Jones. I mean, that's exactly where you want to be. It's a credit to Oregon and just taking what the game gives them. And that's what the best teams do. Also, similar to Auburn, creating havoc in your 8 and 9 hitters in your lineup. That shows a gritty team.
Slapped back up the middle, off the glove of Guerin, and Kaylin Jones is now safe at first.
What Jones is able to do against a spinny pitcher like Curran and just be able to have such good hand-eye coordination, running at the pitcher, hitting this ball down so hard that it pops off of Curran's glove with that type of momentum. She is so good. And for Oregon to have her at the top of the lineup, she gets on it, feels like 2 or 3 times every single game.
Jones with a base knock. Now Amari Harper at the plate. She roped a 2-run home run the last time she was up there.
So you take a deep breath between each pitch. Some of the best hitters, when they just have their routine dialed down to a science, allows them to be so calm in the box.
Ripped foul. Well, Kaylin Jones is now on first base. There's 2 away, bottom of the 2nd inning. Oregon within 2 and the tying run at the plate. It is early on, but we have seen an offensive clinic now on both sides to this point.
I love that each team is like, we're going to slug it out. You know, maybe it's not the best day for the pitchers, but we'll show you our bats.
Flare to the shallow left field where Womack makes the grab to close out a heck of a bottom of a 2nd. Oregon pulls within 2. Wacky occurrence through 2. Auburn 6-4 over 14th ranked Oregon as we head to the top half of the 3rd. It's been a real fun one along with Sydney Supple. I'm Max Kelton here at Mary Nutter. Day 1, game 1. And is there a better way to start this tournament out? I don't think so.
I love seeing the crowds, the people who have traveled miles away, family, fans. This is why this tournament is so beautiful, because it's an opportunity that's only replicated in the Women's College World Series, where you not only have 2 of the top teams in the country, but you have fields all connected together, where if you're a fan, you could watch 8 or 9 teams with all of your favorite players who are so close to you and are able to interact with you coming before and after the games. I just love this tournament.
Well, that brings us to the top half of the 3rd inning. We have had quite an offensive affair to this point. Swing and a miss this time from Michaela Walker, who kicks off the frame. She'll face Elise Sokolski. 0 for 1 for Walker today, and she falls behind 0-1 of the count.
Auburn's going to continue to be aggressive against Sokolski's rise balls because they've seen success against it.
And remember, Sokolski did not start today's action. Taylor Spencer opened things up in the circle for Oregon. Auburn jumped on her early, and that brought Sokolski in.
Walker, somebody who is a senior transfer coming in from LSU, has brought such a maturity, not only in this lineup, but the voice on the field and in the dugout.
Another deep drive, charge to left field. Goodbye. Auburn with just a home run barrage at Mary Nutter.
It's a blessing and it's a curse to be a rise ball pitcher, because when teams are this aggressive and confident in hitting your rise ball, it's home run city. And that's what it's been for this Auburn team. Walker getting every piece of that.
Sydney, home run city in Cathedral City. Man, this is the stuff you dream about. You get out to Mary Nutter, which many consider the mecca of early season softball, and the bats are just hungry.
Look at the emotion in the players and how they celebrate themselves and each other's. And from a young team to be able to do it, that's just a huge remark to the Malvos and what they've created. And for Oregon, this is a team that is just searching for their identity. They came into this season as a top 10 ranked team after going to the Women's College World Series in 2025. They returned 93% of their innings. Their strength is in their pitching staff. And right now, Auburn is giving this Oregon staff everything they can handle.
Everything they can handle is maybe an understatement to this point. Oregon struggling to buy it out, especially to the leadoff hitter, as all three have now reached a pinch hitter at the plate for Kyla Stroud. Stepping in here, this is Kylie Brockman.
The 70-plus at-bats last season. In her freshman year at Arkansas, somebody that they were really excited to get. Her experience, not only behind the dish, as she's one of the catchers in this group, but also what she can bring to the plate.
Two-strike pitch, rip foul.
Good response by Sokolsky so far after the little meeting with Coach Lombardi, delivering an 0-2 count.
Fouled it off her foot. We'll stay right here. Yeah, we'll have Coach Lombardi also on the broadcast in the bottom half of the third frame. Excited to get her take on what's been an offensive clinic to this point. She's, the reigning Big Ten Coach of the Year.
And she's somebody who has been such a great leader for Oregon, so passionate in what she's bringing to the university and developing strong women, as all of these coaches are. But the biggest thing, our pitchers right now, they're getting ahead early. They just haven't found a way to put away these Auburn hitters. And it feels like for Auburn, when they have 2 strikes against them, they're not sweating. They're digging their heels in, and they're making the pitchers work 10 times harder.
Just away. Now Brockman has worked quite the count.
This is about our 3rd or 4th time we've seen an Auburn hitter go from 0-2 to full count. And that just puts so much more pitches and strain on a pitcher.
And not just taking those pitches when they're out of the zone, but ripping and battling the pitches when they're in the zone until you can straighten one out.
And it's mentally exhausting. I can say it firsthand as a pitcher, to go foul ball, have to reset, re-get your motion.
Nice job to strike out Brockman. Good play as Sokolsky slows things down, retires her first.
This is a veteran who goes to her best pitch within her rise balls, does a nice job working it out of the zone, but just has too much spin on it. It's so hard to lay off of.
Ava Ratliff singled to open up a 3-run second inning. She's now at the dish.
What we saw by Ratliff, she was one of the perfect examples that was down in the count. And then she almost was given a second life by an out that was left on the field, and then made this Oregon team pay. That was kind of the start of the momentum for Auburn in the bottom of their order. They were able to turn it on over to Shaw, and she's tasked with the same challenge.
Well, now Ratliff also ahead in the count, too. Ratliff in the 8th spot in the order. Alyssa Hastings awaits in the on-deck circle. Both singled in their first at-bats today. Torn foul. Not one out has come easy, Sid.
Loud outs. Loud outs is what you call them, which the defense continues to be on their toes with how hard Auburn's hitting the ball.
That's strike 3. Nice play behind the dish from Cox to Corral. There's 2 away.
Watch this late break here by Sokolsky, a rise ball that just climbs the ladder so well. It's been impossible for Auburn these last 2 strikeouts to lay off of it. Ratliff trying to, but the spin is just too good.
After Michaela Walker homered to open up the inning, there's 2 away now, both strikeouts for Elise Sokolsky. That brings up Alyssa Hastings, the 9th spot.
Hastings with the single that blooped in over Ho at shortstop last time with an outside pitch.
Fouled off.
You're starting to see Sokolsky work her rise ball even higher in the zone. Really that top level, that's a strike and above, is the level she's working at. She doesn't want to get beat anymore by these Auburn hitters getting on top of her ball.
Ball 1. Popped up right side. And McCoy makes the grab to close out the 3rd. It was a leadoff solo shot from Michaela Walker as Auburn extends the lead 7-4. We'll have Coach Melissa Lombardi on the broadcast when we come back. Hey, we're back quickly. Auburn by 3. Number 14, Oregon, has scored in some wacky ways today. And we'll have Coach Melissa Lombardi on the broadcast in just a moment. You know, it's been a really fun one to open up this 2026 Mary Nutter Classic. And Coach Lombardi's insight is, I think, just what we need heading in to the bottom of the 3rd inning. This Auburn team has kicked things off with 3 home runs through the first 3 offensive innings. Oregon has found ways to score, and we are still fairly tight heading into the bottom of the 3rd.
Man, an offensive battle. You saw Mari Harper step up big in that first inning for Oregon. And then after that, it was the bottom of the order. Got things going, created some momentum. However you can score. This is an Oregon team who is scrappy. They're going to be clawing, whether it's the long ball, whether it's small ball, to get themselves back in this game.
Looks like we're going to get back underway with the action here. Strike 2 in there.
And for Guerin right now, she is tasked with the challenge of who's going to be the first pitcher to put up a 0 on the scoreboard, because we've yet to see a pitcher able to do so. It's been such an offensive heavy game.
Well, it starts with Elon Butler in this bottom of the third frame. Butler in search of her first hit of the morning.
And even if Butler can find a way on, she is such a threat on the bases, not only with her big bat, but somebody who has 30-plus career stolen bases.
That's roped up the middle for a leadoff single. Elon Butler is aboard.
And this one, she just does such a nice job at not trying to do too much. Hits the ball exactly where it's pitched and extends well through the zone that allows this ball to go up the middle.
Now Emma Cox steps in. The cleanup hitting catcher, 0 for 1 today. Strike one.
That is a good off-speed pitch. I want to see more of those by Guerin as we start to see second, third time through and get deeper in this game. Is how can she continue to change her look for these Oregon hitters?
0-1 pitch. Missed it low. 1-1 now.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Oregon start to get their run game going. They were top 3 in the nation last year, stolen bases. Granted, they lost a few of their fast players, but they still have a ton in their squad now.
Skied into right field. That's Walker there for the first out of the inning. Five-hole hitter, Ayana Shaw to the dish. One of 3 lefties in the order for Coach Melissa Lombardi, excuse me. As she bunts right back to the pitcher. It hit Shaw on the way to the bag. She was safe, and now 2 aboard in the bottom of the third inning.
This is a really hard play to be able to field if you're Ratliff as a catcher who fields this ball. It's a short hit ball, third baseman in Roebuck, but that one, as you said, mentioned, hit Shaw. Now what's new this year is we have a double first bag. That's why you see an orange part and a white part. Shaw does a good job hitting the orange part running through, but ultimately the ball was still hit off of her body with the throw being a little offline, allowing her to be safe.
Got to be careful also which way you turn up that first base line. If you turn in toward the second base bag, could be misconstrued as being in territory to make the play. That miss low skates through the knees of Ratliff. Now both runners into scoring position.
Just like that, Oregon comes knocking at the door again. You haven't been able to silence them. They take advantage of any way they can out and through the knees of Ratliff as well. McCoy signaling her to second base. And this is really well timed out right now. And you could tell Kate Malvo, the associate head coach for Auburn, and on top of that, Riker Chase and the pitching coach coming out to have a word with SJ. And how can you settle down your defense in this situation?
You know, Sid, I do want to talk about Chris and Kate Malvo, second season at Auburn, but husband and wife, they got this idea during their time at Tennessee, inspired by the greats.
Yes, Karen Weekly alongside her husband, who they did an unbelievable job for how many years within Ralph Weekly in being able to build a dynasty. And Karen Weekly, still head coach of Tennessee, keeping that as a top-tier program. And I love, as you see Ralph Weekly, I saw him in Clearwater, Florida. He continues to support his wife. And when you have a duo who is so smart as they are in the game and can balance their relationship in it, it makes for a fun combination that Auburn's now able to experience.
I think it also just allows different insights into that head coaching position. And having 2 minds sometimes works better than one. Runners on second and third here.
Probably a bit of comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just when it looked like Auburn might run away with this game, maybe on 3 separate occasions, Oregon has found something offensively, and they threaten once again.
And for Oregon right now, they're just looking to cash in with their best bats. You're looking for Riley McCoy, Stephanie Maake to get back to swinging their bats, and this is the perfect opportunity to do so. They have to find a way to be on time.
Caught the zone. McCoy watched it in.
McCoy, one of the best hitters in the country last year as a freshman. 19 home runs, searching for her first in 2026.
Grounded left side, play at the plate. Got one. Everybody else is safe. Runners at the corners now with 2 down. Elon Butler out on the base path.
This is a strategy that a lot of coaches will do no matter what ball on the ground. You want to go and try to make the throw at home in case it's a pass ball. Now here you hate to see her make the out at third base, but her trail runner does a great job in Butler being able to get back to the same situation they had last time. Second and third, runners on.
And Shaw is now on third. Maake lifts one into shallow right field. And the catch is made by Rodriguez to close out the inning. Oregon roars with a little threat. Auburn handles it with grace. And we're back here in Cathedral City, joined by one of the 2 Auburn head coaches. It's Chris Malvo. Thanks for joining us, Chris. We appreciate you being with us. Heck of a start for your team. Talk about the approach to open things up at the plate.
Really the big thing is we know that their pitchers have good stuff. They do a good job of just kind of like giving some different looks and changing speeds. Biggest thing we wanted to do is not stretch the zone on our end and really like fall into a trap of swinging at something that they want us to swing, making sure that they're coming to us for what we want to hit. So far a good start, being able to control the zone like that.
Coach, we finally saw a 0 on the scoreboard in the half inning. How many of you liked how SJ has settled into this game now?
Oh, thank you, Jesus, on that one. Yeah, it's kind of tough luck in the inning before. Kind of make a mistake and give up a couple in that regard. I feel like SJ is really doing a good job of what she's trying to do. We just got to make sure that we don't give them anything on the other end. They're going to get there. They're a very good team, very athletic, very good hitting team. We just got to make sure we're just controlling what we can.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. War Eagle.
Have some fun. It's Chris Malvo, second-year co-head coach for Auburn, on top 7-4 over number 14 Oregon. Top of the 4th we go. Bases are empty, and to lead things off, it's the top of the order in Kylie Shaw.
I just love his positivity every time you talk to Coach Malvo. So much passion within his team, and also a little bit of authenticity of, oh gosh, thank goodness we finally saw a 0 in this game. This is an offensive battle, and which team is going to be able to outlast the other?
And Oregon's been able to grind out a couple of runs, but Auburn showcasing that sheer power. 3 home runs already today.
Now for Auburn, it's how do you keep it going? We're still in the 4th inning. There's a lot of game left. He credited Oregon. He said, I know we're playing a fantastic team who's going to put up a fight. And we have to look to continue to extend this lead every opportunity we can get. And right now they're doing so and just forcing Sokolsky to throw strikes.
Lisa Sokolsky returns to the circle. Came in roughly halfway through that first frame. It's a walk to lead off the fourth inning. And for the fourth straight inning, Auburn has the leadoff runner aboard.
You can see a little bit of communication. Emma Cox coming out to have a moment with her pitcher, with Sokolsky. You just wonder, are they on the same page? Or maybe Cox is asking Sokolsky, what do you want to throw right now to get ourselves back into rhythm?
And that brings up the two-hole hitting Mania Womack. Ball one. And Womack homered the last time she was at the plate. Cracked this thing open with a 3-run shot.
She's somebody who's so active within her legs. If you just watch how she is at the box, even on her takes, she gets that back half going and ready so that when she decides to releases the barrel, her lower half is already in it and already prepared and ready to strike.
Here's the pitch. Blasted well foul.
And Womack is somebody who was hitting 200 last year, but the coaching staff just believes so strongly in the work she put in the offseason. She's so disciplined.
Ball two.
Comes from a really strong family between her brother and her father who served. Her brother's one of the top safeties in the country, so it's an athletic family, and they knew it was only a matter of time, and the time is here. This season is her year, Coach Melville keeps saying.
With a 2-2. Taking ball three upstairs as the count moves to full with nobody away in the top of the fourth inning. And a runner on first base. Kylie Shaw does have some speed over there.
And Sokolsky's just trying to find her timing.
That's ball four.
Sometimes as a
Back-to-back
pitcher,
walks, Sid.
when things aren't going your way, you feel the weight of the world on your shoulder, and you try to be everything you can be for your team, and that's what I feel from Sokolsky right now. She has such a good rise ball, but she's just overthrowing it, which is causing her to be off time and lead to the walks because she wants to do it so badly for your team, and that's when your want can get in your way and take you out of being in a really competitive, aggressive mindset.
And Oregon typically very sure-handed with their command in the zone. A couple of walks here in the fourth, though. Runners on first and second and nobody away. Chance for Coach Lombardi to maybe go in a different direction here. Sid, what are you seeing?
Lombardi wants somebody who's going to come into this game and take charge, and she's willing to go through the entire bullpen until she finds that. And that's what it's the credit to Oregon, who just has so much depth to be able to interchange. And you love to see the hugs. They continue to be the most selfless bullpen in the country.
More to come after this pitching change. We'll be right back. This is Maddie Milhorn, the freshman right-hander out of Vancouver. She's a fun watch.
Coach Lombardi, maybe one of my all-time favorite quotes from where it said, she throws an easy 72 miles per hour. And I had to say, Coach, easy and 72 miles per hour should not belong into the same sentence. She said, just wait until you watch her. It looks effortless from the power she delivers off the mound. And as a first year, my goodness, sky is the limit.
Native of Vancouver, Washington, as we mentioned. At Skyview High School, she was the 2025 Washington Gatorade Player of the Year. And she comes off one scoreless outing in the circle last game against Stanford. Now she'll take over against this rockin' Auburn offense. Runners with on first and second, better yet. And 3-hole hitting Destiny Rodriguez willing to step in, who is already 2 for 2 today.
Coach Lombardi was really honest with us. She said, I love throwing her into the fire because every single time I do, she gets better. And here's another opportunity for her to do so. And you can see the gas already on that one, as Auburn's going to have to find a way to get on time quickly. This is about 6 to 8 miles per hour faster than what they were seeing earlier today.
Here's the pitch. Ripped foul, now 0-2.
And I like the change now. You're continuing to get into the heart of this Auburn lineup, who's their 3rd time through. They've got a lot of pop coming up within Rodriguez and company. Make them beat you a different way.
Just missed low for ball 1. And it's a good point there, is maybe this is the reason why Oregon went with Milhorn. Sure, a change of pace, but also she's been effective during this freshman year, and even that miss was close. Ripped up the right field line and foul.
A really heavy natural drop ball, and that's what you're going to continue to see. And you pair a heavy drop ball with a hard-throwing pitcher, that is just the equation to get a lot of great ground outs. And that's what this offense is looking for, or excuse me, this defense is looking for.
Team best 1.68 ERA for Milhorn this season, and 8 1/3. Got the zone, that's strike 3.
Throw her into the fire, because every single time you do, Milhorn comes out the other side. So much power coming off that mound. I mean, all of 70 miles per hour and plus. Gosh, I would have loved to be a pitcher who could throw 70 miles per hour, let me tell you. I would love to know how cool that feels, because it looks cool.
Yeah, talk about an easy 72, and it is lightning quick coming out of the zone. We have runners at first and second, 1 away, top half of the 4th. Swing and a miss, that's strike 2, and Annalee Adams, who blasted a 3-run jack in the first frame, now falls behind by 2 strikes.
Milhorn coming in as well, after you saw so much rise ball from Sokolsky, is really changing the eye level for this Auburn team. They were trying to make sure they didn't swing at pitches out of the zone, but now you're going to have to try to have a really late, hard take with pitches low in the zone.
We've seen this from Auburn all day. They might get behind an account, but they won't go down easy. They continue to battle.
They're really good at wasting pitches. That was the first off-speed we saw from Milhorn. You know, I'm just impressed she got a piece of it.
2-strike pitch. Had plenty to waste, and that was heat. You saw the pop.
I keep thinking about how dedicated these Oregon softball fans are. Coach Lombardi calls them Jane Sanity in their home season. How much fun they're going to have watching Milhorn this season compete.
Oh, that just got a piece of Annalee Adams to load the bases with 1 out.
But here's where all of a sudden that foul ball pays off, because you saw another opportunity, and this time you wear it, and that's where this Auburn team is so good. You give them an inch, and all of a sudden they find their way on base again.
We've seen this offensive outburst from Auburn since the first at-bat of the day. Now 5-hole hitting Haven Roebuck takes ball 1.
And you can tell Oregon's infield just in a bit deep. You saw Kaylin Jones at second base. They don't want to give up another run here.
Tough spot here with just 1 away and the bases juiced. And granted, Milhorn came in a difficult situation already. There were 2 on base with nobody out. Struck out the first batter she saw, gone ahead on the next, but just grazed that back elbow. And now in a quite the jam.
Auburn's making her work, and that's why I love the maturity by Emma Cox, understanding when her pitcher just needs a second. You came into this game and you've had to do a lot of pitches. You're breathing hard. Allowed her to reset, then she can throw her pitch.
You gotta love Cox going up there and just calming down her freshman. 2-2 now.
You're starting to notice Auburn's hitters getting towards the back of the box, which is exactly what I would recommend when you're facing Milhorn. And it just allows them that extra half a second in timing. You can see them getting it as much
Got
as
the
possible.
zone. That's strike 3.
Maddie Milhorn, a name that is going to be known through all college softball for what she can do. Her explosiveness when she releases every pitch.
Roebuck goes down looking, 2 away. Bases remain juiced. Top half of 4. Ball 1 to Michaela Walker.
And you have to decide so quick as a hitter if you're going to go or you're going to hold back because of how hard that ball's coming in.
Oh, they got Auburn in a pickle. A base running blunder. She gets back safely. And everybody will get back safely. It looked like Oregon and Cox behind the plate might have been able to pull off this defensive fluke. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, Cox not afraid to throw down. A great job by Jones making the cut as second baseman. Her number one job is to get the ball back in Cox's hands. You defend home plate. Don't make the out. Let's just reset and I'll go back to where we started this thing.
You get 2 down here. I think the message is focus on the batter. But the batter at hand right here, Michaela Walker, she led off that 3rd inning with the solo home run. That's strike 2.
If Milhorn can continue to pound the zone, right now these hitters are not able to catch up for her. Keep the ball low, keep firing.
Got her! Strike 3! Milhorn deals yet another. Well, she came in relief and quite the jam. She puzzles her way out of it. The freshman showing off in game 1 of Mary Nutter. Oregon to the plate when we come back. Oh, it's beauty here in February. Cathedral City, Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic as 2026 is underway with the first game of the weekend's action. Oregon trailing 3 as S.J. Guerin steps into the circle for her 4th inning of work.
As an offense, you have to use the momentum that the freshman coming into the game, Maddie Milhorn, just gifted you.
Ripped foul, and now Katie Flannery with a 1-1 count. Flannery 0 for 1 today. The junior third baseman bats in the 8th spot, followed by Taryn Ho, and then the top of the order, Kaylin Jones, later on this inning.
Right now,
The
not
pitch.
trying to do too much if you're Oregon.
Shot into left center. Oh, was the catch made? That's unbelievable. Womack hauled that in for the first out of the inning.
And this ball just travels, but Womack tracking it down every step. She gets a great first step. You see her then over her right shoulder. I mean, that is so impressive. As you're a pitcher right now, you're fired up.
Those are game-saving plays, especially with how Oregon has been able to get things going offensively.
You also understand the speed of Flannery. That ball gets down. She's on second or third base. That's a huge leadoff out.
Hot shot cut. That's Hastings flashing the leather. 2 down.
This infield is so good, especially being young. They can handle anything. As a pitcher, you have so much confidence when you have an infield that can make these type of wedge gems. I mean, full superwoman and everything. This is why I love this tournament. You get to see some of the best athletes in the country compete on the biggest stage.
At strike one in the top of the order, Kaylin Jones with a pair of singles today. She's 2 for 2.
And if you're Oregon, you have to stay confident. Those are 2 well-struck balls. Allow it to feed you and not take away.
Flared into shallow center field, and Jones is aboard with her 3rd hit of the day.
I mean, are you kidding me? She makes this game look so easy. Well, everybody's trying to find any speck of green. She does so on a consistent basis. Again, the bat awareness, the bat control is at an all-time high.
Well, the first 2 outs of the inning were, Sydney, as you would say, loud outs. And then you have Jones, who comes in, doesn't try and do too much, gets a base hit, keeps the inning alive, and Amari Harper in the 2 spot already blasted 1 home run today. And now Auburn kind of has a little heat.
And that's what you love about Jones, is the fact that even with 2 outs, she's able to cause a little bit of spark and momentum for Oregon right now. In respect to Harper, you saw Coach Riker, the pitching coach for Auburn, take a second to talk to SJ and make sure they both were on the same page, because they understand one wrong pitch can change this game and put Oregon right back into it.
First pitch into Harper, taking strike 1.
You just see her so calm between each pitch. She finds the same breath work every time in a certain spot on her bat.
Ball 1.
Both of these teams understand how important momentum is. They've felt it on their sides at different parts of the game. For Auburn right now, they're just trying to keep it on theirs.
The pitch. And hit the batter, and now the tying run will step to the plate. Amari Harper on first, on second base Kaylin Jones, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And Elon Butler will come up after Harper reached for her 2nd time today.
Now you have Oregon working with a little bit of 2-out magic. And the way that you see now Coach coming in, it looks like we might have a change for Auburn. And if so, a credit to S.J. Guerin hanging on to this game as long as she could. I think it's the right time to get a different look.
Guerin's line right now, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, only 2 of which earned. We'll see a pitching change. On the other side, don't go anywhere. New pitcher in the circle for Auburn. Here comes Ella Harrison. She has shined this season, and as a starter, that's where she's been at her best. Now she comes in a more precarious situation. Bottom of the fourth, 3-run cushion, tying run to the plate. Sydney, Ella Harrison was a Big Ten all-freshman team honor last season. She showed up in her first year and now moves over to the Plains as a sophomore, expected to do big things.
Oh, she's done big things since the moment she got on the college softball stage. And she was the shining part for the Rutgers last season in the Big Ten all-freshman team, a top 25 finalist for NFCA Division I Freshman of the Year. Her stats might be a little bit deceiving, but her strikeout record was one of the best in the conferences in the nation. And that's why Coach Melvo and Coach Riker said we need to get her in an Auburn uniform. And she's just allowed so much depth within that staff. But one of my favorite things about her is the way that she can spin her rise ball, some of the best in the game. And as a young player, she's continuing to developing, and she can be scary good someday, but she's already really good.
Harrison, a right-handed pitcher out of Clarence, New York. The sophomore in her first season with Auburn will step in to face the 3-hole hitting Elon Butler, who is 1 for 2 today. There are 2 runners on base with 2 away, bottom 4. First pitch from Harrison. Swung on and missed.
And Harris is somebody who can work you in so many different ways. We mentioned the rise ball, her bread and butter, but she's also developed her drop, her screw, and her curveball even more so this offseason. So just has an array of tools.
That's ripped just foul. It could have been trouble if it stayed to the right of the chalk.
And one thing that I love about the Milhorns is they said there was a bit of an adjustment period when she came on this team. So they tried to expose her to as much live hitting against their hitters, which, as we're seeing, the hitters she faced all fall some of the best hitters in the country. So if she can handle them, it's going to set her up for this type of competition.
Battled off the low pitch. Remains a 2-strike count.
And this is a team that has just welcomed her with open arms. As they have with all of their newcomers, they've allowed them to step up and have voices right away.
0-2. That missed away.
I like the flash of the changeup, even though it was a miss. Again, it's just sending a signal to the hitter in the dugout in Oregon. Okay, she's an off speed that she has confidence in that we need to be aware of.
1-2. Just missed. And, you know, Sydney, we talk about how Harrison comes over from a different school. You mentioned earlier today Elon Butler, 3 seasons at Cal, all Pac-12 honors, and back a couple years ago, All-America's second team. She's a star. This is a big moment. She rips it left side, backhanded stab, play made at third as Hastings goes to Roebuck for the 3rd and final out of the 4th. In comes Ella Harrison. Out of the inning goes Auburn. Yeah, fans sunbathing here as we have quite the matchup to open up the 2026 Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic. Auburn receiving votes in the top 25 poll, up by 3 over number 14 Oregon. We move into the top half of inning number 5. Co-head coaches Chris and Kate Malvo in a comfortable spot as the offense has peppered 7 runs through the first 3 innings. And Oregon, however, you can never get comfortable against these Ducks. Auburn would love to add a little bit of cushion.
I love even there, we got a bit of an inside look on Chris Mello having a conversation with his players. That's something you're going to see all the time for Auburn. He wants to be present with them. He's coming from being a longtime assistant coach where he got to be their biggest cheerleaders. He said, that's going to continue being a head coach. Yes, I'm going to hold them accountable, but I want to be their friend on the field. I want to be the one that's encouraging them every step of the way. That's where you're seeing a team compete against one of the best so well.
Yeah, they have certainly gotten behind him as well. Brockman flies this into right field. Butler grabs one away.
And so excited to see an opportunity for Maddie Milhorn to not come into a bunch of chaos this inning, but start with a clean slate, already working her first out in the game.
Let me correct myself. It looks like that's Elise Crescio who has taken over in right field for Butler. Strike one in there to Ava Ratliff.
And Ratcliffe is somebody who has just been, it feels like, really pesky to every Oregon pitcher here today, not making anything easy in any of her at-bats. Now with an opportunity to get Milhorn the same type of work.
Maddie Milhorn back for her second inning of work. Entered the game an inning ago with nobody out and 2 on. Strike 3 called. That's the 4th strikeout in 5 batters for Milhorn in the circle.
Milhorn has just impressed me so much as a freshman. No moment is too big for her. She's coming into this game and being the difference maker, pounding the ball low in the zone. 72 miles per hour looks really good with that type of down ball break.
Bottom of the order, Alyssa Hastings takes ball 1. You know, after quite the showing through the first 3 innings offensively, somewhat of a relief to see what Maddie Milhorn is doing in the circle.
And you have to think that Coach Lombardi and the rest of the team, they're getting their trust built into her, and she's going to start to earn even more innings and opportunities here as she shows herself so well.
Missed just outside for ball 2.
And that's the thing about softball is you have a staff, but you can really plug and put a lot of these pitchers in between being a starter and being a closer. Now you'd think with Milhorn's speed that like to have her come in and close, but with what she's doing even to start this inning, she's somebody who I'd love to see open up and start a game at some chance here this season.
I think she'll have her chance if my crystal ball proves me right. You know, with how effective she's been, it's tough to have that kind of arm exclusively out of the bullpen.
And with the defense, you could tell is playing with a ton of confidence behind her back. The rest of the team is going to see that.
Fouled off again as Hastings stays alive. And, you know, one pitcher we haven't seen, Lindsey Grine, who I'm sure will be starting that next game with Texas A&M facing off against Oregon 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. And sure to expect a fun top 25 matchup as this is called foul.
And that's where these tournaments are really different for these teams, who are so used to, once you get into conference play, playing 1 game a day, a 3-game series, so you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to all of a sudden now, these teams are playing 5 to 6 games this weekend, stretched out from Thursday to Sunday. You're getting used to a doubleheader every day, and you have to be a lot more selective with who do you throw in which matchup.
2-2, ripped into left center field as that finds the alley. Hastings wheels around first base and cruises to second with a 2-out double.
This is a really good job after Milhorn has shown dominance since she has stepped into the circle. Just finding a way to time her up. And if you can stay short and compact to the ball like this, it's going to fly off your bat with how much power Milhorn is bringing.
It's the first hit allowed by Maddie Milhorn today. Top of the order in Kylie Shaw now.
And as a 9-hitter, you're doing your job. She's been able to effectively turn the lineup over to Shaw every single time.
Just away. Shaw with a pair of walks today. 0 for 1. Ball 3 now.
And that's where Milhorn, after giving up your first hit, I'd love to see the defense get really loud behind her, saying, take a deep breath, we got you. You don't have to strike everybody out.
Well, first base was open, now it's occupied. Runners on first and second with 2 down after 2 quick outs for Maddie Milhorn.
Now you're getting a situation that you did not want to be in. You wanted to take care of business with the 9-hitter to not go and face Womack. Already has a 3-run bomb and give her an opportunity to do the same thing again.
Womack to the dish, 1 for 2. We mentioned that 3-run home run, which came in the second inning. Ball 1.
Womack, with how aggressive she takes the ball each time, you can tell she is just hunting in that box. And that's a good foul ball. The scariest foul balls as a pitcher are the ones that foul straight back, because that's when you know the hitter is just a hair away from being on time to barreling it.
That's ball 2. And by the way, you know, that walk just a moment ago to Kylie Shaw, which is Shaw's 3rd walk of the ball game. It's only the 4th walk issued this season by Milhorn, who often does command the zone. That cracked Cox behind the dish.
I mean, you throw hard and you're consistent, it's just not fair. There's too many tools working inside her, and this is a tough foul ball against Emma Cox. Such a warrior behind the dish. Just taking a second to make sure she's all right.
Got to grind that one out. Shake off the stars behind the mask.
That's why catchers are the toughest people in this sport, let me tell you. You're also a pitcher's best friend.
Having a backstop back there, that certainly helps. 2-2. Got the zone, dropped third and tagged. That'll put an end for the top half of the 5th. As Maddie Milhorn strands 2 for Auburn. Ducks with a chance to come back in this one. Would you call this immaculate vibes? I think it's pretty close. Oregon trailing 3, bottom half of the 5th coming up. And it's day 1, game 1 of the 2026 Mary Nutter Classic. We will have some very fun action for you all weekend long. She's Sydney Supple. I'm Max Kelton. Auburn got out to an offensive clinic through the first 3 innings. Oregon put 4 runs on the board through the first 2 frames. And here we are, bottom 5, with no scores since the 3rd. A 7-4 ball game here in Cathedral City. And we have a tight one with 2 very well-coached teams that it feels like this one might come down to the wire. Ella Harrison checks back in after recording just 1 out an inning ago. The second pitcher for Auburn will take on the middle of the order. 4, 5, 6 for the Oregon Ducks, who need some run production in inning number 5.
And scoring just feels like it always comes in bunches. It felt like nobody could stop the bleeding early on with both teams' offenses being on fire. And then we've seen the pitchers start to take back that control. Who can win the last 3 innings in this ball game? That's what I'd be telling my team right now if I'm Oregon. We still have about half a game left to show who we are.
Ratliff getting ready. It actually looks like Brockman has slotted in behind the dish instead of... Nope, check that. It's still Ratliff back there. Well, Emma Cox at the plate, 0 for 2 today. A fly out and a ground out.
Right now for Oregon, it's just finding a way to be able to get on time to Harrison, who came into this game last half inning.
You know, Cox comes from a family of athletes. We talk about how a lot of the players on the diamond today hail from an athletic family, but her pops, Darren, was an All-American catcher with the Sooners. All 3 brothers played collegiately. Her mom was a Sooner as well. The pitch into Cox. She watches strike 3 go by. There's 1 away. Nice pitch from Harrison.
Harrison working with that low rise. Not a few pitchers can throw it. The amount of forearm strength this takes for her to be able to bring the ball that looks like it's going to be at your shins to finish just above your knees. Perfect strike. And to your point, what that tells me about Cox or any player on this field who comes from an athletic family is that they grew up in a really competitive household, and winning didn't come easy for them. And that's what I love when parents or older siblings, they don't let the young ones win because they just turn out to be some of the grittiest, toughest athletes we see on these fields.
It also leads to a great work ethic at that, and no joke for Cox. That said, Shaw steps in, takes strike 1.
And for Oregon, you're just looking for any little win right now in the box, whether that could be laying off of a really good hard take rise ball or drawing a walk. You want to celebrate it all the same to get that happiness, that momentum back in your corner so you can start swinging the bat with more confidence.
Shaw left ball 2. 2-1 count here for Harrison. Ayana Shaw, 1 for 2 today. Singled her last time up. Looking to start the rally for the Ducks. Slapped foul for strike 2.
I love the consistent lefty presence you see here. 1 through 5, just sprinkled throughout Oregon's lineup. And the battles that makes the defense have to face. Rise ball is on another level. We saw a low rise punch out earlier. This time a high rise as Harrison continues to be dealing.
2 down.
This is where Riley McCoy is really looking to start building on confidence. It just felt like she's been uncomfortable and off time in the batter's box right now. And someone with her type of power, she could do so much damage when she gets back to just staying in that back leg and being in control of when she delivers her barrel.
Missed it low.
And we mentioned earlier when S.J. Guerin was in this game that she had to pitch in 50 out of 59 games. When you continue to develop pitchers like Ella Harrison, that's going to save Guerin's arm for later on in this year as we continue to see other pitchers emerge for Auburn.
That's a great point. You know, as much as you want these wins early on, you have to be able to manage the arms as the season goes on. It's often a marathon, not a sprint. Riley McCoy at the plate, looking to get on base for the first time today. That pitch cut the zone.
And that's a really good 3-0 take. I'm not upset about that right now if I'm Coach Lombardi, because she's seen the ball well, and there's not much you can do with the rise ball that stands in that much.
McCoy, the sophomore, tied the Oregon single-season home run record last year. Watches in strike two. The count moves to full.
This is, again, going back to celebrating the little things. McCoy, who has 2 at-bats, I'm sure she's not happy with. Celebrate this win. Okay, you got yourself back in this at-bat. Now how can you win it?
Full count, ground ball, left side. And the throw down the line, and the tag applied by Adams. Auburn leads by 3 as we move into the 6th frame. More to come from Mary Nutter. We welcome you back here for the Mary Nutter Softball Classic. Top of the 6th inning, Auburn by 3. Back in the circle, Maddie Milhorn at the plate here. Destiny Rodriguez in the 3 spot for Auburn. 2 for 3 today with a single and a double. And Milhorn, who has been sharp in relief, she missed it low for a 1-1 count here.
And every opportunity Milhorn gets, it's just another way to continue to grow her craft and to show everybody how she competes here at this college level. So far, been nothing but impressed. It's taken 3 pitchers for Oregon to finally find the right one that's been able to go against these battle-tested and big bats of Auburn.
Missed it low. You talk about the power-tested bats. We saw 3 home runs through the first 3 innings as the score just exploded right away. All the adrenaline must have been pumping. Nothing quite since on the scoreboard. Strike two.
And I love that response there, even being able to find her breath. And that's something with a pitcher of her type of speed, being able to slow herself down in between pitches.
Ball four. And Rodriguez leads things off with a walk.
And that's where Auburn has just been really good so far this game. It's almost like they can sense when an Oregon pitcher starts nibbling. All of a sudden, they start holding their bats back and taking the walks when they can.
Coach Melissa Lombardi talked about jumping on teams early, but in fact, it's actually not Oregon, but rather Auburn who has done just that. Flared into shallow right center, and it gets down for a base hit for Annalie Adams. And, you know, this Auburn team has had the leadoff runner aboard in 5 of the 6 innings today. Now 2 on base with nobody out.
It just feels like they're so hungry, that they're never resting on their lead, that every single inning they want to win that inning. And when you can keep a team, especially a young team, so focused on let's just win every inning, you look back weeks later and you see the big wins that you were able to compile. And for Oregon, on the other hand, it just feels like right now, it's just everything feels so big picture. They know they could be playing better softball. They know what a good team they are. That when they start to get down, they're having a hard time claw their way back.
An 0-2 here. Milhorn has pitched well with her back to the wall today. Missed it high.
This Auburn team is very disciplined with 2 strikes. I mean, we've been saying it time and time again. They do not just roll over and strike out.
Rip to the shortstop, Taryn Ho, who caught it on the fly for out number 1.
It's a good 0-2 pitch by Milhorn, getting it tight enough in the hands from Reebok to deliver a huge first out. And it's just speed on speed. She's able to get her enough on the inner half of the plate to deliver a shallow pop-up. They tried for 2. Rodriguez did a nice job staying tight to second base.
Ball 1, misses low. Now Michaela Walker. Walker 1 for 3 today. Swing and a miss.
She's going for another long ball there. To say 1 for 3, one being a huge home run for Auburn.
Swing for strike 2.
When Milhorn can pound that lower part of the zone, it's just very difficult for hitters to be able to get on time and on plane of that pitch low in the zone, early enough in the zone.
Walker does a nice job battling that away. Milhorn getting up in the pitch count. She only came into the game 2 1/3 innings ago, nearing 60 pitches on the afternoon. Shot in the air, shallow left. Shortstop Ho makes the grab, 2 down.
Ho's did a really nice job coming into this infield, starting in today's game. She's somebody who Coach Lombardi said reminds me of so much of Paige Sinneke, who was one of the greats, the Gold Glove winners for Oregon shortstop last year. She's the reason why is because both of them are barely 5 feet tall, but they play like they're 10 feet tall.
Starts with the leadership aspect, and getting that out of a freshman is special. The Honolulu native out of Punahou. Punahou Athlete of the Year. And she has just emerged as quite the defensive spot at shortstop for Oregon in her first start. Pinch hitter here for Auburn. Strike 1 taken. Delaney Amua steps on in.
And the 21st recruit in the country by extra innings softball. She was the Offensive Player of the Year 2 times.
Rip right side, bobbled. Everybody's safe.
This is a tough play for Maake, who's at first base for Oregon. You want her to be aggressive. She's the closest one to the ball. You want her to go for it. But the problem is her and Jones both went for it. The ball's hit away. She tried to recover. But a good job by Adams in the hustle.
That ball just died as it was approaching Maake's glove. Looked like it would carry a little bit longer. Maake tried to short hop it. Now the base is juiced, 2 down. Top of the 6th, and Auburn with a chance to crack this thing wide open.
It feels like every single inning, even on the ones where Auburn hasn't been able to score, they've continued to put the pressure on the defense. There hasn't been a single clean inning, 3 up, 3 down. And as a player, that is just so stressful. I'm not talking about just the pitchers, but even as the defense to mentally stay in it, say, okay, base runner's on, where am I going with this pitch?
Every base is occupied. Ava Ratliff at the dish. Milhorn delivers strike 1.
It just felt like one of the hardest pitches by Milhorn today. I love it when the moment gets big. So does she.
Milhorn climbing toward the moment. That rise ball got away from her. One. Swing and a miss for strike 2.
You don't need to supply the power right now in the box. Ratcliffe just needs to shorten up that swing and go for contact.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Fouled away.
Yeah, that's a good adjustment right there. Shortened up with 2 strikes on her. How can you keep your bat path just really direct to the ball? Milhorn looking toward the watch device that all these pitchers have now that sends the call in. It's not the old school signs.
Strike 3, swung on and missed. Milhorn gets out of the jam and leaves 3 stranded. Oregon trailing 3 headed to the bottom half of the 6th. Welcome back here in a beauty of a day in Cathedral City. Max Kelton, Sydney Sublee here on hand. Oregon trailing 3, but it's getting late, getting into the weeds, and Auburn with a chance to knock off a top 15 team. 7-8-9 for the Oregon Ducks. It starts with Stephanie Maake. Ella Harrison offers inside for ball 1.
This bottom part of the order is what got it done for Oregon to be able to get their 3rd and 4th run, looking for a little bit of magic here as well. Maake made a statement as a freshman in this tournament last year. And Harrison has done such a nice job coming in after Garrett, who's a bit spinnier. Then you have Harrison, who comes in with more speed. and has just been pounding the zone and working her rise ball.
We've seen the power from Maake. Will it come through in crunch time? Swung on a miss. That's strike one.
And for Maake and McCoy, when I look at their swings that have so much power, feels like they're pulling off the ball just a little bit early. You can see when your back goes through, all of a sudden your shoulders, your head, and everything is just turning off the pitch.
Grounded through on the left side for a leadoff single.
And Maake, as soon as I said turning on the pitch early, she finds a way to be on time and do exactly that, turn on the pitch. And if you're going to hit a ground ball, they say hit it as hard as you can. Finds its way through the 5-6 hole. And those are the little things Oregon needs to be erupting in the dugout about.
Oregon fired up from the dugout with Ella Harrison on the mound. They were Big Ten foes last year. Harrison during her time with Rutgers, Oregon, and Coach of the Year, Melissa Lombardi.
And I actually called when Oregon came all the way down to New Jersey and played Rutgers last season, but Harrison was out with a back injury. So they scouted for her, but they didn't really get to see many opportunities of her, so this still feels like a bit of a new matchup for the Ducks.
That ball nearly got away as well, and you see Presley Lawton has taken over as a pinch runner for Maake. Nobody away, runner in scoring position, 2-0 count. The pitch to Flannery here. Ball three, that got away.
Great job by Lockton being able to take third base. All of a sudden, you're 60 feet away and getting right back into this ball game. This is going to call for a timeout from Riker. He's somebody who knows what his pitchers need to hear. He says sometimes it's words of encouragement, sometimes it's a bit of a stronger message, but either way, it's just to redirect their focus, get them out of their heads and into competition mode.
Good way to reassure Ella Harrison, hey, you're on the right track. Don't focus about the runner on third. Let's lock in, throw strikes, and keep rolling here. Oregon hasn't scored since the second inning. Now a runner on third, 3-0 count with nobody away. The pitch to Flannery. In there for a called strike one.
Flannery is somebody who has been seeing the ball well, but just been a little bit off her timing. It's just about her finding the pitch that she can do the most damage with to hunt for.
And that's ball four.
Harrison. Yeah, she's starting to struggle with her control. You would see it even through both at-bats. This is a great opportunity for Oregon. You're right back in striking mode here. Now, which player can stand up and start to cash in? And Melissa Lombardi said she felt like they were starting the game well. They felt like they couldn't finish. Well, now here's your opportunity. You didn't start well, but you still have every ounce to be able to finish strong and come out on top. We just saw associate head coach Sam Martyr in her third season, who works primarily with Oregon's hitters. That's why she's at third base and in control of substituting anybody in this lineup.
Yeah. That allows the Ducks a little poise with the tying run stepping in here.
And that type of mess tells me too that Harrison is in not quite communication well with her catcher, as you could tell that she just crossed her up.
Strike one. A pinch hitter, it's Bracy Rosa at the plate for Taryn Ho. Ball and a strike. Ella Harrison to the dish. Rosa takes strike 2. Here comes Harrison. Swung on, lifted, shallow left field, near foul territory, and the catch is made.
What a hustle you saw by Harper coming all the way from left field. And a shallow pop-up by Rosa. She's going to run all the way to almost an infield to make the shoestring catch. That's a big timeout. And too close to third base to be able to make any type of play.
Grounded left side, keeps the runner at third. Everybody's safe here. Bases loaded with 1 out.
Kaylin Jones make it 4 for 4 on the day. So good, puts this one into play. And with the speed of Jones, the second you don't throw it right away, the second that she's safe. But I don't hate this play that Rodriguez tried to make.
And Lawton, good awareness to get back in time. Amari Harper already with a home run today. She steps in with the bases loaded. The tying run at first. She represents the leading run. Bottom of the 6th with just 1 away as the infield shifts in for denied defense. Cranked down the left field line. Go ahead, Cindy.
I love about this sport is it's not managed by a clock. You don't have 10 minutes left and all of a sudden you're like, we don't have enough time to come back. This is the beauty of this game. Until you're down to your final out, your final swing, you have every opportunity to come back. Oregon has put themselves in position to do so. And Coach Martyr wants to make sure that Harper is set up to be in her best position at this at-bat.
In Oregon.
And Coach Martyr had stops along the way. Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Charleston, and Boise State before settling with Coach Lombardi.
That's ripped into left field. Playable. Catch is made by Shaw. And a run scores tagging on the play. Lawton came home.
This is good softball all the way around. It's a great at-bat. Whatever you could do, sacrifice fly there, but also a good job by the outfield coming into the infield, understanding we can afford to give up 1 run, but they didn't allow that trail runner at second base to advance to third.
Missed upstairs. So with 2 outs and 2 aboard, you know, we talk about Elon Butler being at the plate here and what she's done over the last season or so in Eugene. You know, this is the player you want up, Sydney.
You're exactly at the heart of the order. This is why you put your hitters at 3, 4, 5, the ones who could cash in. As we have seen multiple times, the bottom and the top of the order for Oregon is found a way on. You just need to drive them in.
Missed inside.
And we've seen Harrison go back and forth, toying with control. And what Oregon's doing a better job now, they're understanding, let's make her come to us. Let her throw you a strike.
Butler puts it on the ground. Play at third base in time. That'll get Auburn out of a 6th inning jam with a 2-run cushion headed to the 7th. More to come from Cathedral City. Don't go anywhere. This one is tight, heading into the final action in Cathedral City at Big League Dreams Sports Park. Stop off for a good bite here on Wrigley Field. You know, every field here is named after one of the more famous ballparks in the country. We are here all weekend at Wrigley, and it has shown out in this first game of the weekend. Number 14, Oregon trails Auburn 7-5 as we move into the top half of the 7th frame. And the Auburn softball group is looking to add a little bit of cushion here in this final action before the Hungry Bats of Oregon look to make a comeback in the bottom half of the frame. Maddie Milhorn.
If you're Milhorn, you understand that your team just got one run, that they are riding on a lot of momentum. So how quickly can you get them back into the dugout and make this your first clean inning?
Ball one outside.
And Max, you talked about the ice cream. I can tell you as a firsthand experienced player and broadcaster at this tournament, the food is top level. I mean, tri-tip meats, you get the best of the best.
Only the best for Mary Nutter. That's the expectation, Sid.
Hundreds of volunteers who dedicate their time and weekend to making this event possible.
30 teams on hand, a full weekend set. Talk about Team Japan also in the house this weekend.
Oh gosh, and to be able to have not only one of the best teams in the country, but the world. You're talking about the 2020 Tokyo Olympic gold medalist.
This is ripped deep left center. It's off the wall, and Hastings rolls around first into second base.
Hastings, who tied the nation last year for doubles in the country at Lipscomb, showing she has the same double power here against the top Power 4 competition. She has not missed a beat these last 2 weekends, now bringing up her average to over 400. And they're putting in a pinch runner because they understand this is a crucial run for them to score.
Runner at second, nobody away. Top of the order, Kylie Shaw. In the pinch run, that's Addie excuse me. Sorry, that's Daigle Wilson. Check that.
And Auburn doing such a great job, pouring on pressure every inning.
Throw down to second. It kicked into center, just not far enough for Wilson to take the extra bat.
That's why you love a backup there. And Cox has already shown that she's not afraid to throw the ball and backpick these runners. So Oregon does a great job at making sure that there's always a backup in position with these throws.
1-2. Missed it upstairs to Shaw.
And Shaw has had a lot of opportunities to hit this game. She's 0 for 1 because every single other time she's been whomped.
3 times she's been offered a free pass today. And she continues to battle. It's not just taking the right pitches. We've talked about it all day. It's battling off the pitches that aren't yours, that you can't do something with.
And that's where she's so good. She allows the hitters behind her to see so many different pitches and looks.
Slapped foul again.
And Milhorn, even though she's the third pitcher in this game, her pitch count is getting higher. And why that's important, because Oregon is playing a doubleheader today. Right after this game, they have a whole nother one.
That's away. At Texas A&M, things don't get any easier. Number 13 team in the country, and it's a fun group coming in.
A&M earned the first #1 seed in program history last year. But let me tell you, this Auburn team, they received top 25 votes last weekend. They're putting up a statement why they should crack the top 25 if they can continue this game and this weekend.
Coming off of, we mentioned at the top, 5 straight run rule victories for the first time in nearly a decade. They're 9-2 to open up the season. 6 straight wins. You know, they were selected to finish 12th in the SEC preseason poll. If they keep playing like this, I think the expectation is that they'll shoot much higher.
And when you look at the dynasty of Auburn softball, they've had some of the most competitive programs and runs in the NCAA tournament. And the Malvos are bringing them back to that prime shape of just belief in this really young group. And they're putting on full display with this Oregon team. And it actually looks like we might not be getting a pitching change, but possibly just making sure that everyone is healthy here in the outfield. You can see some jogging around.
That's Rowan Thompson who is being checked on. Is that?
All smiles, always a good sign.
Check that Ayana Shah. Let me correct myself. And maybe a dead leg with that left hamstring.
Yeah, and as we were taking the second here, I was looking through Maddie Milhorn's resume this season. And while she has had several different appearances, she has never went past 2 innings. So this is the longest we have seen her in a game so far. So how much can she keep that stamina up?
Longest career outing for this freshman. Crack of the bat, flare into right. That gets through for a base hit. The throw comes in, cut off by Maake. And the bases are loaded with nobody out.
This Auburn lineup never satisfied as they continue to do such a good job at finding ways to get on base and then having the big hits to drive them in. This isn't one of the first times we've seen somebody go down and get Milhorn's drop ball. And they're finding a way to be on time.
Yeah, lifted into, that was deep in the infield, but it was the right fielder who came in. Heck of a play from Elon Butler. And she had to run quite some time to make that grab.
All the way to the infield, a pop-up catch, a little bit of diving there. I mean, hey, however you can get the out, you'll take it.
One away. Pitch is taken, but nobody will take the chance. At the plate here, Annalie Adams. In the first inning, she cranked a 3-run blast. She's been on 3 times today. Swung on and lifted. Right field and deep. It's over the head of Butler. 1 run scores. Here comes another. The throw to the plate. She is safe. Annalie Adams unloads the bases for Auburn.
Auburn has finally found a way to catch up to the speed of Milhorn, and when they're on time, this ball carries deep off against the wall. Runners are going, and what an opportunity for Auburn to, they already has the lead, but this time extend it after any momentum came from Oregon's side. And you could tell this is a group that is fired up. This game means a lot to them. And it looks like it might just end the day for Milhorn, who up until this inning had a tremendous outing, and it was exactly what Oregon needed. But again, the freshman, this is the first time we've seen her go past 2.1 innings pitched, and she's going to pass off to, it looks like the starter that we saw earlier in this game within Taylor Spencer.
Milhorn hadn't allowed a run to that point, and Auburn just unloads in this inning. 1 out, runner on second. Already 3 runs have come home. It's 10-5 Auburn. Welcome back here to Cathedral City. Auburn on top of Oregon, 10-5. This was a two-run ball game coming in for this top half of the frame. And then Annalee Adams just blows this one open. She now has 6 runs driven in today.
Just crazy when I look at this score, Max, too, is to see it's 10-5 when it felt like a really competitive game.
It was close when it was a 7-5 game coming into this inning, and it felt like Oregon had built up a little momentum.
They did, in being able to bring it to a 2-run game, and it felt like they were just scratching at the door, but really it's a credit to Auburn. Both teams have found a way to get runners on every single inning, but one team has cashed in more, and that's been Auburn. They have found a way to adjust, and no matter which arm has come into this game for Oregon, and now you're seeing them go to Spencer again because I believe they're saving Lindsey Grind for next game.
Spencer started today's action. She fires into strike to Haven Roebuck. Roebuck today 0 for 3 with a walk. Now the Ducks want to make some changes. Here's the chess game.
And both of these coaching staffs just so good at being able to utilize all the tools they have coming off the bench as well. And you just wonder if this has to do with the outfield injury we just had checked on. Now eventually she's coming on after we saw the trainer have a long look at her in the outfield.
Yeah, she was looked at earlier in the frame. Being tended to by the training staff now.
Yeah, we saw her jog it off with all smiles before, but just looks like a different face that's being made, and hope that she's okay as her team will look to pick her up and get these last 2 outs. But that's why in the dugout you have to be ready. Your number can be called at any moment.
Ball 1. And Taylor Spencer, a chance to kind of quiet these Auburn bats and give her team a fighting opportunity in the bottom half of the frame. We know Oregon can catch a little fire, but with Auburn and the rhythm that they've found at the plate, you question whether this will be it. Runner on second with Haven Roebuck up there. Spencer delivers. Ball outside.
What I do like about this opportunity for Spencer, she started the game, wasn't the start that she wanted after coming off of a great weekend. She was able to recollect herself, I'm sure go through a bullpen, and then be able to apply what she learned immediately, just about an hour later.
Missed it low.
And that's why mentally as a pitcher, you have to stay locked in even when you think your day might be done. How can you be reflecting? And when your number is called to be able to learn from it, you're able to show that you did.
The payoff pitch. Fouled away.
And I can't even imagine the pitch count that all of these pitchers have for Oregon with how much Auburn has continued to just foul off so many pitches.
Another foul ball. Oh, it's got to be exhausting for anybody in the circle when a team can battle like this. You just can't find that put away pitch.
your defense is also out there so much longer. I mean, Oregon hasn't had a quick inning defensively all game, so it's hard to get in a rhythm offensively at the plate.
Well, when they say defense leads to offense, you know, I think that speaks to getting your defense off the field as quickly as possible and then keeping that offense rolling. You know, we talk about contagious hitting. When the bats are rolling and you're there for quite some time, you make it look easy. But a payoff pitch, grounded left side, backhanded stab. Amaral is in there now, and the pick unable to be made as everybody's safe.
And even with the pick, that would have been a pretty tight play and a hard throw to make. And Auburn, after so many foul balls, finds a way to put this one fair in the hole. Good job throwing across the diamond. That's just a hard one. But honestly, I feel like that one would have been a safe call anyways.
Womack at the dish. She swings through the heat. 0-1.
And Walker with another opportunity here in an RBI situation.
Yeah, pardon, Michaela Walker at the plate here. Thanks, Sydney. No, Michaela Walker and Manaya Womack, each with a home run today. That's where the confusion comes from. Walker had a solo blast to lead off the third. Skipped down to second base, but not in time.
Both have similar stances. You can see they put that front leg back a little bit and then they step into it. And for them as a hitter, it just allows them the opportunity to step their front foot wherever they want to go attack a pitch at any part of the zone.
And there for a called strike 3 as Spencer sits down Walker. 2 down.
This is a great job by the junior coming into the game and throwing a beautiful ball. And this is just a knee buckler type of off-speed pitch that catches even the best of Walker and looking.
With 2 away, that's taken upstairs. Back at the plate here. Looks like Delaney Amua.
We mentioned athletic families. Amua is one that comes from exactly that. Her father played football at Cal State Northridge. And she's somebody who has flying resumes throughout her high school playing days where she was voted Offensive Player of the Year 2 times within her conference.
The pitch. Slap foul.
When you look at this Auburn lineup and the different hitters they've been able to bring in, whether it's freshmen or hitters off the bench, this is something that Chris Malvo said, I really have 13, 14 players that I could put in my starting lineup, and you're seeing exactly what he means with this power top to bottom.
Swung on and missed. That's strike 2. And a chance for Taylor Spencer to squeeze the Ducks out of this inning after we've seen Oregon fall behind in some counts. It was an early strike for Auburn in the 7th to extend the lead from 2 to 5 now. Swung on and lifted deep, but well foul.
As soon as you say that, it feels like Auburn's like, we're not ready to let her off the hook just yet. But for Spencer, if she can get away to just strand 2 on right now, it could allow her team to have just any bit of momentum coming into their last 3 outs.
Spencer, the 2-2. Roped into deep right, but manageable. That's the catch made by Crescio, and that'll be the end of it. We're going to the bottom of the 7th. It's a 5-run deficit, and Oregon looks to climb on back. Don't go anywhere. Since 2011, USA Preps camps and showcases have been provided guaranteed college coach exposure, giving teams and student athletes a direct path to be seen through elite competition and on-field instruction. Visit www.usapreps.com to see the full 2026 event schedule. Bottom of the 7th frame, Mary Nutter, number 14 Oregon, and Auburn. And the Ducks of Oregon on the ropes, 4, 5, 6 stepping in. And Ella Harrison looks to close things out for the War Eagles.
What a performance this has been for Auburn, and what would be a resume win for this program this season. A young group that's getting better every time they take the field.
Tigers have looked so good today offensively.
And we've seen Harrison kind of work through a few ups and downs so far in this game. But here's an opportunity to end on a high note as each one she's been able to battle through.
Harrison relieved S.J. Guerin, who started today's action. Between the two, they have pieced together a very nice showing against a hardy offensive unit. You know, those 5 runs that primarily came through the first couple of innings, only 2 of those 4 runs in the first 2 innings were earned. Cox lifts this one behind home plate and foul.
And Oregon has had every opportunity to be able to put themselves back into this game, and that's what I would be saying in the dugout. Of every inning we found a way to get somebody on, let's do it again this inning, and let's have some belief on our side that this game could still be ours.
Grounded to the third. In time. One away.
And for Chris and Kate Malva, they have developed a young team that believes they can compete against anybody in the country. They just have came out today with so much poise and grace and confidence within their game. But also, they've minimized the mistakes. They've played pretty flawlessly defensively.
That's strike 1.
And when that low rise is able to hit her level, Harrison is so good. She can continue to control that pitch.
Missed it low for a 1-1 count here.
And Harrison right now with a 5-run lead. How can you continue to pound the zone? Let your defense work behind you. The last thing you want to do is start to nibble with the zone and give up any free bases.
And it's the first at bat of the day for Addison Amaral. Addie Amaral, who has started every game up until this action today. Remember, Ayanna Shaw exited the last half inning.
And Amaral was a part of that three-headed monster they picked up from the portal, where she was an All-American, played her first 2 seasons at Notre Dame. She compiled a career .352 batting average with 19 home runs.
Missed upstairs for ball 4.
Sometimes as a pitcher, I could tell you when a new hitter came in that 7th inning, it tends to break up your groove, and that's why teams love to do it. You have gotten so comfortable with the lineup that you've been facing that a new face, you try to do too much. And for Harrison, how can you just flush that one out to, that was a pinch hitter, and well, now you're going to get another one to try to handle this one better.
Trinity Holden.
And I believe, Max, this is her first at-bat.
Holden comes over from Portland State. Hasn't seen much action this year. Good time to get things going. Grounded to short. Only play is at first. Holden dove in there. Not in time. There's 2 down.
Holden giving every ounce of effort. This routine ground ball to the shortstop. Looks like she was just trying to do whatever she could and what she felt like was going to be a bang-bang play. Anytime you dive into first base, you just worry about fingers and injuries. And so that's always just a bit of a risky play for me, but I think adrenaline, she wants to make the most out of her first at-bat for Oregon. You're pressing, you're trying really, really hard, and you can't blame an athlete for that.
Stephanie Maake with Oregon down to its final out. Here's Ella Harrison, the pitch. Maake takes ball 1. It skips between the legs of Ratliff, and the runner advances.
For Auburn right now, the runner on third base does not matter to you. 2 outs, infield's back. How can you just find a way to get the out and go to first?
1-0. Slapped into left. It's a diving stab to end the ball game. That's unbelievable. Kylie Shaw put an end to it, and Oregon upsets Auburn in a 10-5 final.
Auburn has done such a nice job at every asset of the game, especially their defense. Talk about the effort and the hustle here. They have their pitchers' backs, and they have belief within this team. This is a group who now has 20 home runs on the season, and we're only in weekend number 3. They have opened up this tournament making a statement, and they're going to look to continue to do so. But for Oregon Ducks, you got to have a short mindset. You play again in 30 minutes.
Now coming up right after this, it'll be number 14 Oregon and number 13 Texas A&M. For our championship crew and Jeff Sermon in the truck, along with Sydney Suplee, I'm Max Kelton saying so long from Mary Nutter. We'll see you in just a moment for first pitch on Wrigley. Coming up next.